Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope everyone is having a great day. If not, this video might just turn your day around or give you a new perspective on life. Now, today's topic is going to be about something I've been thinking about probably for about a week now, and it's living with regret. And I think every single one of us has some type of regret. I know there's a lot of people out there that say don't live with any regrets. I know that's a big thing, and I believe in that. I truly believe you shouldn't live with any regrets. But we're not perfect at the end of the day. We all have some type of, I guess, regret that we live with every day, or maybe it's even a situation that we think about, right? It could be anything, right? Maybe you're overthinking something that you said to someone, right? It can be really anything. And, I was doing some research, listening to a lot of YouTubers talk about regret and living with it. There was a common theme that I noticed about it, and it was living with the regret of not trying. And that's a deep one. That really made me think for a while, and I want to talk about it. Now, what does it mean to live with the regret of not trying? It can mean a lot of stuff. It can have a different meaning for everyone, but to me, living with the regret of not trying would be, for example, you have an opportunity to, let's say, move abroad and learn that thing you always wanted to learn, right? Whether that could be maybe an instrument or maybe some type of skill, right? It could be anything. And let's say you think about it, but then you're hesitant, and then you don't do it. And then later on in life, you're aging and you realize that you should have done it. And then you have that regret. And then after that, you tell kind of the people around you to not do that, not do what I did. You tell your grandchildren to just live with no regrets, just do it. If you see the path, if you see the vision, go for it. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to explore the planet that we lived on. The other day I heard about a would you rather. Now it's from a YouTuber, I forget his name, but it went something like this. Would you rather live with the regret of not trying or lose the foundation in your life? Now, the second part, losing a foundation. That could mean like taking the opportunity to move abroad or maybe take the opportunity to switch up a job, right? It could be losing a stable comfort, right? That's how I interpret it. And that really, would you rather really stuck with me for a while. And to me, my answer, 100%, no matter what context, is going to be I would rather live with the regret. I'd rather have the regret of losing a comfort item, right? A monitored amenity. It could be anything, right? I could not see myself living with regret. Now, obviously, there's people out there that want that comfort or that, they want to stay comfortable. And that's all you. By all means, if you want to stay comfortable and live the way you're living right now, just do it. If it makes you happy, then just do it, right? There's no one's gonna stop you. There's the term going around, no one's gonna save you, and it is really true. No one's gonna. It's your own life. Live it how you want to. But then, if you have like a little inkling of, oh, maybe I want to try this, or maybe I like the comfort, but I really want to do this, but I'm afraid of failing, or I'm afraid of what my parents are gonna think, or I'm afraid of how people are gonna perceive me. Just do it. It's your life. And one thing that I try to incorporate with that mindset is wherever I'm at, I try to spread goodness. I try to maybe give a little hope that the world is not a bad place or is not going down. Now, this could be interpreted as a hope core to anyone out there. That's the new TikTok term, apparently. And it's crazy how this would you rather it really gets me going. I was listening to the YouTuber that said this, and I think it was like a maybe a Twitch streamer or something that asked this person, and he really gave out a thoughtful answer. He said he would rather live with not a stable foundation, with not the monitored amenities, and I really respect that. because you're out there, you're pushing past your comfort zone. I think the main question was, would you rather get out there or would you rather live in your comfort zone? Would you rather live outside your comfort zone or live in your comfort zone? And I know that's the thing that's been talked about, and I know there's a thing out there that if you truly want to grow, you gotta get outside your comfort zone. And I believe that. Look around you, all the growth moments in your life, right? If you, let's say you learned how to drive a car. Well, at one point you had to get outside your comfort zone and learn the material, get behind the wheel, go to those driving classes. I forget, it's been a while. Go behind the wheel training with a random person, right? This can be for a lot of things. For example, big thing that people deal with nowadays is anxiety, like social anxiety, phone anxiety, taking a phone call, setting up a doctor's appointment, even, right? But the only way to get better is to just do it. Is to just live outside your comfort zone. And this is why there's so many people. I'm not the first one to say this, nor will I be the last, but there are so many people out there that tell you this. And so there has to be some type of truth. That's why I think, right? If there's so many people telling you this, then there has to be some type of truth to this statement. Let's circle back to living with regret and should we leave it in the past? I think yes. I think people should, if you regret something, if you regret the way you said something or the way you handled a situation, then yes, leave it in the past. But there's one thing that I do as well as the regret is I always try to learn from it, right? In any situation, no matter good or bad, there can be learning moments, right? There can always be, you're always learning at the end of the day. You're always learning about what to say, what not to say, what to wear, what not to wear in certain situations, right? Life's about trial and error, pretty much. A lot of it, too. Some of it is learning from other people's mistakes as well. And so, if you have a regret, maybe whether that's saying something or doing something, learn from it. Don't be too hard on yourself. I think being too hard on yourself is a bad thing, especially with regret, because I think that really doesn't help the situation out. Try to learn from it. That's the moral of the story. Try to learn with the regret that you have and try to be more mindful in the decisions you make. I know that's very basic advice, but sometimes the most basic advice is the truest advice, right? This is why there's a lot of people out there saying this. No matter if it takes this video or the next 1,000 doom scrolls on TikTok for you to get the point across. Now, this can be applied to anything. This can be applied to motivation, how you think, how you perceive things, and how you do certain things. This whole regret thing, I feel like there's a lot of people out saying, oh, don't live with regret, it'll consume you. And that is true. Regret will consume you at the end of the day. But you can also learn from it. If you mindfully, think about the regret, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of a silly thing to say, think about what happened and think about your regrets. I know I've asked people a lot of questions and it's a very mixed answer. I asked them, do you have any regrets? Simple, simple answer, but they say yes and no. That's what I get most of the time for an answer, yes or no. And or kind of a kind of, kind of one of those answers. And what that tells me is, yeah, they most likely have regret. I've met a couple people who have lots of regrets, and I met people who say they have regrets, but they are in the past, and you got to keep moving forward. At the end of the day, that those people are right. They're in the past. You got to keep moving forward, right? It's not too late to change things up. If you, yeah, that's the biggest thing I see. A lot of people think that, they have to stick with the certain thing they regret, right? They have to stick with the certain degree. But there's living proof out there that you can change that. If you went into a degree program for, let's say, mechanical engineering and you graduate, turns out you don't like working in an office and you want to go back for environmental studies, you can do that. Sure, it may not be cost effective, but you can do that. It's such a simple idea, but yet people seem to, I guess, not misunderstand it, but just not realize that they can do that. They have free will. Free will. At the end of the day, you have free will. You can do what you want to do. You can either choose not to live with regret or live with it, you know? From that video I watched earlier about the would you rather, the guy said, at the end of the day, you gotta pick the regrets that you can manage, right? You gotta pick the regrets that you can live with and you can be at peace with, right? And to me, I am 50-50 on that statement. I agree with it, but at the same time, I'm like, do I want to agree with it? It's kind of it's a good statement, pick with the regrets pick the regrets that you want to live with or can manage. Half of me says yes, that is very true and very knowledgeable and very good advice. But at the same time, I'm like, well, you can also learn from your regrets and then kind of forget about them, push them away. But, you pick and choose, pick the regrets that you want to live with. If you can justify something, right? If you can justify, let's say it's moving away, moving to a new state, right? If you can list out the pros and cons, and there's more pros of moving to the new state, then do it. It's if you know deep down you can justify it, then what's stopping you? Yeah, sure, there might be some cons. Maybe you lose all your connections back in the original state that you were born or live in currently, right? But there's also a new opportunity to go meet new people, go out and explore and do all sorts of stuff. So overall, moral of the story is pick and choose the regrets you want, and the regrets you have, either A, well, not either A, but reflect on them. My opinion, my advice would be to reflect on them, then learn from them, and then move on. Don't hold on to that regret. Sure, sometimes you have to pick and choose the regrets you want to have, but then you'll eventually realize how silly it is to have those regrets, because there's a lot of people that say don't live with any regrets, and that is true. But, humans, we're not perfect, and we still have some type of regret deep down, but you can manage that. If you can justify it, you can manage that. All right. I hope you can take away a new perspective from this video of living with regret. Obviously, don't take this video as this is the golden answer, because it's not. This is just my opinion and my opinion alone. Obviously, my opinion will change, as do ideas and probably this whole living with regret thing as I get older. And yeah, I hope every single one of you has a good day, good evening, and good night, and good afternoon, and hope every single one of you can find peace in your lifetime.